Everybody, welcome back with the Purplatypus is the name, and today we are going to be doing the weaponry trial number 1, and we're going to be going for fight number 7 here. This is the level 50 difficulty. Why this one is important to clear as soon as you can is that every day you can get the level 7 done, and you can clear it, ideally at 3 stars, although being able to just clear it in general is fine. You will be able to, I think you could sweep, you could sweep these, and you have a chance every day to get legendary gear. It is rare, but it will happen sometimes. And not to mention, you're frequently going to get gold gear, and it's actually, you're less likely to get rare gear than you are to get the epic gear. So this is the first big step up, because this is the only one where you're able to get, the majority will be gold or sometimes even legendary gear. Now, of course, it'll get better as you go, but this is the first big breakpoint. So I'm going to show you how I did it, what team I used, completely free to play. But I'm going to try to give you some other options as well. As it turned out, when you have the right strategy, this fight became pretty easy. So here is my team here. I will go into the actual builds after we watch the fight. That way, someone just wants to see a strategy, they could jump in, they could do it. Ballista, Butterfly, Angel, Divine Grace, and K.A. Archer. So this isn't a... reason one I wanted to do this is that this is also not a very clean fight. I kind of lose Butterfly really early on despite not having to. But still, like, even then, it's not an insanely hard fight. Now, when I say free to play, as you can see here, there are 4 gold units. Most of these characters are going to be interchangeable. However, I would say you need at least one of these, Butterfly or Angel, and then you could replace the other one with Light Conjurer, I think the name is, because you need debuff, because this character's debuffs will kill you, because over 8 rounds, you're just going to basically be taking, you know, most a percent of your life at the end of every turn without the proper amount of debuffs. Angel can't do it alone, and Butterfly can't do it alone. So you need 2 healing / debuff characters. And if you're free to play, Light Conjurer. As far as these damage dealers, these are all pretty replaceable. Ballista's great because he just gives physical defense down, and you're primarily doing all physical damage. Divine Grace has maybe the highest damage potential output. And K.A. Archer is fine. I don't know if they're really needed in this team. I like them, but I don't feel like they're doing exceptionally well. Like, if you have, like, a barrel, just throw a barrel in here. She'll do so much more damage. K.A. Archer is fine, but a lot of her stuff is based on, like, the assisting attacks at level 35. But because of the way the dots work, it'll knock him out of it, and it turns out to be a pretty weak mechanic for this fight. You don't really want to do assisting attacks, because I'm pretty sure the dot knocks you out of it. At least that's what it felt like when I was trying to do it. So, let's take a look here. Initial setup here. Oh, for the abilities, I don't believe you need urgent order, but you need the movement. I would probably actually grab the lightning bolt and just get in like 2 or 3 hits on this guy. Just like, it'll make the fight end maybe a round earlier and help you get 3 stars. So Butterfly is going to come in here again. We'll go into actually what I have equipped on him, but the main strategy here is she has Dance of Encouragement, which is going to give everyone around her lifesteal and increased damage. This is very good, but this is an optional skill. I just really like it. The main skill you're going to want here is Blessing. Heals all allies within 2 tiles, recovers 30% of HP, and converts 2 random debuffs into level 1 debuffs. Now, a big thing here is that the debuffs that they're putting on you in this fight, I don't think anyone has one yet, but they are called Stigmata, and he'll stack it really high. And even though you only have 1 debuff, these only remove this many stacks of the debuff. So if you have 3 and you have an ability like Angel here to remove 1 debuff, if it'll only bring you down from 3 to 2, so it'll keep stacking higher and higher, and you will eventually die, which is why I say you need more backup. So this ability is incredibly powerful. You can probably rely on just Blessing. I like using Dance of Encouragement to also help with healing and damage, but also her trait is insanely important here. At the end of her turn, dispels 1 debuff from 3 random allies within 3 tiles, so you want to keep her around your allies, and then it'll turn them into buffs. So she's automatically dispelling debuffs at the end of the turn. You have another super powerful Dispel More debuffs, and then you have Angel to also do AoE heal and dispel debuffs. So healing and debuff is the name of the game here. And she's not going to be attacking, right? This boss you don't want to attack melee against, so she's literally going to stand around, use her trait, and then use her skill. So even Light Conjurer could be better in some situations, but I really like Dance of Encouragement as well myself. So let's jump into it now and kind of see what the strategy is. Right, I mean, I don't lose Butterfly this early, but I do lose her earlier than I need to. So I could definitely do this fight more clean. But basically, we're going to run around. We're just going to attack. These characters' builds are not particularly optimized. Like, this ability is good. Like, I like Covering Shot, but again, whenever they took damage at the end of their turn, like, I originally did it on this character, but the Stigmata made it so she instantly got knocked out of it. However, I do use it here on Divine Grace because he doesn't have any Stigmata. But once you get it, it's hard to completely get it off. So I'd probably not use covering strikes for the most part. You can see I could use it here because he doesn't have any Stigmata. And then I'm going to heal here, start getting rid of some of the debuffs before it gets too crazy. And now I'm going to attack, boom, and then he'll get his attack. This is actually where, I think this first round's where most of my damage comes from. Boom, boom, and we're just smacking, smacking, smacking. Like, Divine Grace does so much damage. The debuff from Ballista here is also really good. And Butterfly lives, but I believe Butterfly dies next turn for really no reason. Also, when you're doing these fights, quick note, one thing you want to be very careful of, you want to be careful of manipulating speed of anyone for any reason. Like, there's lots of ways to lower this character's speed, but when that speed falls off and they go from like 100 or they're at 150, if they go down to 50, and then at the end of their turn, you know, it triggers back up to 150, it's easy to get them to accidentally get 2 turns in a row and wipe your team. So try to avoid speed manipulation unless it's like you're going for the kill and you could get it done before the speed debuff runs off. But you can see here, this is very simple. We're just gonna, basically, because we're all ranged characters, we're gonna keep running around in circles, and we're gonna keep healing, and we're gonna keep shooting. And that's really the whole gimmick of the fight. So that looked a little weird. I did that there specifically to heal this character. And now, one of the big mistakes I made, right? This ability is a gimmick. It's an AoE, but it does bonus damage if it only hits 1 target. So what I should have done is actually use my other team members. Like, if you run up here, I think that this will actually decrease the damage because it'll hit more targets, and you'll be able to just sink the damage into rocks. I think that's why the rocks are around. So very good strategy there that I did not utilize. But other than that, right, attack, attack. Luckily, he only had 1 stack of Stigmata, and we're going to keep attacking while avoiding these squares, right? You got to avoid these squares because they just give a bunch of stacks on you. But now my debuff is way weaker. So we are on a time limit. Reactivate March command. It is really good because you can get into range and then get out of this AoE, right? Which is basically what we have to do. So boom, we're just going all in here. Angel. I would like to have all these characters on one side. There's just not a lot of room for the heals. He wastes his turn here, attacking nobody. This is actually the attack you want to see because it actually does nothing. It's like the best attack to see. It's annoying to have to move your character, and it's a powerful attack if you have don't have March command up, so you can't attack and move out of it. But if you have March command up, it's insanely powerful. So it might even be worth saving it specifically for those actions. But you can see here, we're just getting good damage. And I learned when I saw Butterfly die, I learned, I was like, why does she die? It takes so much damage. So then I went in here and I got the hits in. But I didn't want Ballista to die because I actually did have him die and I did a backtrack. But then here, we're just going to keep doing the healing, get rid of a little bit of debuffs, not as much as we want. And then honestly, they just don't have enough HP to keep living much longer. So I think I used Sky Shot here to finish it off. Oops. One more hit. There we go. And there we go. And I did get a legendary weapon. So let's go take a closer look at the characters. And the first time you do this, you always get a legendary weapon. And then every day that you could do it, you are also going to be having a chance to get a legendary weapon. But if I go to my inventory here and I take a peek, we are getting... I got my very first copy of a level 1 hammer this year. I got the Denial Hammer, which is a really, really cool weapon that I'm happy to have. And so if you want cool weapons like this, make sure to do this. Now, for those of you that want a slightly deeper dive, let's actually go look at the characters in more detail here. Luckily, they'll be at top. So Butterfly, you're going to see most of the gear I'm using is just survivability on the healers, right? I don't care about this. I just equipped something random here, right? So these are not min-max characters, right? Like, these stats don't even matter. If I really wanted it to matter, I would have something like this, decrease damage by 10%, you know, of a higher level. But I'm just doing things that are just like fine. I'm just throwing stuff on. But as far as the abilities here, I went left, right, right, right. So I actually think that this character could use a lot of Crystallite because this ability is kind of insane. And Enchanting Dance is one that I think a lot of people will want to get because it's such a crazy good ability. However, for a free-to-play and you want to get legendary weapons, I actually think Blessing is a huge boon for you. As far as these, I haven't really used these, right? I'm using these two and her base ability that heals, but she didn't actually even use it in this fight. So Angel, it would be probably our primary healer. I do have Sanction on, but I never got a chance to actually use it. One of the more important ones here to have is Flagellant. is because you get penance. You're going to take damage, and when you take damage, you get 1 stack, and then you are going to recover 2 energy a turn. And when you recover 2 energy a turn, that means you could use Light of Healing every single turn for the rest of the combat, which is insane because you need that ability to dispel debuffs. And she does grant a bunch of buffs to your allies, so she is increasing damage. She is preventing you from dying, and she's usually topping everybody off. Pretty good character. I probably would do more focus on a actual healing item here, which I don't know if I have. Maybe I should be using this, but I didn't want to level it up. It's expensive. So Devil does nothing here. So again, not optimized. We're just kind of trying to keep our characters alive, and I'm trying to throw something together, you know, so you guys can show that it's like, as long as you have leveled gear, it doesn't matter if you haven't built your whole account for this. Now, Divine Grace is super powerful. Extra physical attack and 25% more damage when having 3 or more buffs. Obviously, Angel, whenever she heals him, gives 3 buffs. So that condition is going to be met super easily. When healed, you also get damage up 2. And then you also, you could use a more powerful single target attack. However, I am just using an aura that gives everyone more crit because we are using a bunch of archers and we are all kind of standing near each other. So I felt like this would be better. Also, the protected, as long as you have no debuffs and you have 3 buffs, 30% bonus attack, 15% attack, 30% defense. You could probably take this off, to be completely honest, because it's very difficult to have no debuffs at this stage. So I would probably take that one off. But as you take a look here, that's exactly what I got. These other abilities are cool. Like, honestly, this ability is super strong, but it wasn't very good because of the way the debuffs work. Same, this wasn't very strong because of the way debuffs works. And this one is arguable instead of having Storm Spring. So I actually think you can kind of use what, like, if you have the exact opposite build on this character, I still think it's incredibly viable on this stage. But I would take Strength and Activation, as it's just, like, insane. That's a lot of damage. But honestly, Storm Sniping might just be even better, right? Because it does 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. It does, like, 160% damage from really far away, too. So Ballista, the only thing important on Ballista, again, just get your stats as high as you can. But the only thing you really care about in the skill tree is going to be this one here. After attacking, inflicts physical defense down for 3 turns. That's 40% physical defense, and that's just super nice, honestly. I really, really like it. Scatter, I'm not a big fan of it. I actually did take Catapult. Catapult does seem pretty good. The only reason I'm not using it in this fight is because of the 4-turn cooldown, and I wanted to have more energy to sink into stuff. So I'm actually using Shattering Arrow for basic attacks, ignore 40% of damage. So basically, I'm using this until I can't use it, and then I'm using my normal attack. Whereas if I got rid of Shattering Arrow and I got this, maybe that would work out better. But then I would end up every now and then having to do a normal attack without a benefit. And I'm not sure how that works out for damage-wise, but this is a great ability, right? So the only one thing you want to make sure is to get that physical defense down for 3 turns. K.A. Archer, like I said, she's not particularly great, but the reason why I have her in this fight and why I actually think she is on paper very good in this fight is going to be the focus shot. So she has 2 abilities that stack that are basically the same, right? If there are no enemies within a 2-tile radius, which is guaranteed as long as you don't get any closer, there's 1 enemy and he doesn't move, all right? And he doesn't summon enemies. So you could always be 2 tiles away, or 3 tiles away, because your attacks have a 3 attack range. Crit increases by 35% and physical attack increased by 12%. And then you could do this here. At the start of the turn, you get crit too. So she's basically always critting. The issue is her damage didn't feel like it was insane. I think I should have gotten rid of assisting attack because, again, it always fell off. However, Sky Piercing Arrow is very powerful, has a long range. It's a curve shot. So I think she is actually pretty good. I think I may have just wanted to instead get full draw, just increase your basic attack damage, and just do your basic attacks at 130% instead of doing the Sky Arrow. Like, if you do a 130% basic every single turn instead of a 140% every 3 turns, it's probably just better, So I'd probably end up taking full draw. But honestly, I like this other ability here too, but it's just too slow. It says it grants it to allies, and that might be a bug or a mistranslation because it only grants 1 target critical to. And so when it said it grants it to allies, I thought it would be AoE buff, but it doesn't appear to be. So I would get full draw here for sure. Guzman is not on this team. Who else is on this team? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was the whole team. All right. So that is the team. That is what I use. And again, when it comes to like equipment and stuff, it's really just get big number. You can see I'm using my 3 highest level bows, and these aren't min-maxed either. So what you saw is very doable on your account. I would say at level 35, especially if you have slightly more min-maxed characters. If you're using Barrel instead of someone like, you could probably, I would consider switching out Ballista over KA Archer for Barrel, because the physical defense down loses a lot of value when suddenly only him and one other character are benefiting from it. But he still does a lot of good damage. But it really is going to kind of depend on you. KA Archer could absolutely also be taken out because she's not like insanely good, but it all works out. Anyway, that's all for this one, guys. Start farming those legendary weapons, and good luck out there. May your legendary weapon of your dreams fall into your laps. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Platypus on the rise, watch the view.